How's everyone? Okay, so yesterday we left off at Fashionista. So let's get started. The Fashionista, archetype family, fashion. Other expressions: tastemaker, stylist, goddess, model, diva. Life journey: to pursue a life that is not about appearance but self-empowerment. Interesting. Unique challenge: to develop your inner qualities in tandem with expression of your external beauty. Universal lesson: to discover how painful it is to be judged for the externals rather than for the quality of the person you are. Defining grace: exuberance. Inner shadow: the ugly duckling who never becomes the swan. Male counterpart: the gentleman. Myths of the fashionista: clothes make the person. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Rags to riches. Pygmalion and Cinderella. Behavior patterns and characteristics of the fashionista: loves fashion without being a slave to it. Always looks good. Uses fashion to develop authentic self-esteem. Helps non-fashionistas find their personal style. Lifestyle challenge: how do I fashion a lifestyle that reflects who I am and empowers me as a person? Life journey: the fashionista archetype is another hybrid in our gallery of archetypes. This archetype is new on the scene, coming into prominence as a result of the media, fashion and gossip magazines, the popularity of models and designer clothing, and the power of the internet. Their combined alchemy has produced an interest in fashion unprecedented in Western history. Description of the fashionista as a clothes addict or a clothes horse are not only inappropriate but inadequate, completely ignoring the hidden and complex soul journey inherent in our leading red carpet archetype. The fashionista is the poster child for exploring individuality and self-esteem, the foundation of this archetype's life journey. Tracing the evolution of the fashionista, we come to see that throughout history, our choice of clothing has had more to do with power than with design. Today's fashionistas is merely carrying on a tradition that goes back centuries. We humans have an archetypal need to wear something that shows the world our relationship to power. Whether the item is a talisman dangling from a belt, common in ancient days and popular again now, or a family crest worn on a ring, or today's high-priced designer shoes. Human beings cannot face the world without something that telegraphs our place in society and says, I have power. When archaeologists looking into a newly opened pyramid examined a corpse several thousand years old, they are often able to construct a possible life narrative for the person from a tiny symbol woven into a fragment of homespun clothing. Was this man a servant, a member of the pharaoh's court? That one tiny symbol still contains enough identity and power nearly 3,000 years later to communicate what a wearer's clothing conveyed to the world back then. I am a member of the royal household. So long before clothing was fashion, it was a billboard for power and identity. Power wear in the old days might consist of a warrior dress or ceremonial garb or a shamanic robe. Power wear today is just a variation on the ancient theme. For example, Leather, especially black leather, communicates more power than cotton, and designers deliberately use it to convey the power of sex and seduction, the potential for naughtiness and the forbidden. It's questionable whether any designers are conscious of it, but when they sketch their new collections, they are not just creating stylish outfits, they are also giving form to a psychic energy field of power and fantasy. Poised to buy that piece of psychic energy and power is a fashionista. Quite without realizing it, the designer and the fashionista together are engaged in a ritual of power reenacted by people everywhere. Back in the Middle Ages, everything from adornments you wore around your neck and waist and wrists down to your horse and sword and the standard you carried revealed a glance at your station in life. Whether you were rich or poor, nobleman or commoner, knight or soldier, citizen or foreigner, landowner or serf, merchant or tradesman, captain or sailor, guard or criminal, educated or illiterate, your clothing told your story, your history, revealing even your successes and failures. With the Renaissance came the birth of glamour. What we wore began to tell a different story. Out with clothing merely for survival and in with fashion and design. The opening of trade routes to the east provided an array of silks and other luxurious fabrics, and women and men of means began to outfit themselves as a means of adornment. Over the next few centuries, the endless balls and socializing among the kings and queens and their courtiers elevated appropriate dress from, if you have any, to the lavish, bustled, and beribboned confections that adorned Louis, oh gosh, 10, 11, 15, 16th court at Versailles. I have my Roman numerals written down on my bookshelf, and they're not in front of me, but I have to memorize them. I think it's Louis the 16th. Louis elaborated fashion to a code of conduct so elaborate that not following it down to the last buckle or bow was grounds for immediate banishment. Dress in the aristocratic circles of Europe earned a reputation for style and elegance. But soon fashion as frivolity and fun evolved into fashion as mystery and intrigue with a risque flair. Clothing went from simply signaling your social status to serving as a conduit through which to communicate more daring messages of sexual innuendos and strategic power. Is this starting to sound familiar? Think about the messages today, think about the messages fashion today communicates, many of them mixed. Fashion can be either a shield of a stunning wrap, depending on whether the wearer feels insecure or empowered. The fashionista clearly recognizes clothing as a symbolic language of power, and if this is your archetype, your life journey is not a tale of dress per se, but a saga of self-empowerment. Clothing for the fashionista is a billboard for self-expression. With every new creation the fashionista wraps herself in, she is saying, "Look at me, world." She walks down the street scanning the faces of others for feedback, wondering if people like how she looks. If you are a modern-day fashionista, you were formed out of two opposing forces. One is the feminist movement of the 1960s and the 1970s, which gave you an appetite for freedom and expression and appreciation for your body. The other is the rise of the modeling and cosmetic industries and the fashion press, which together imprinted on the psyche of women the notion that they can never be thin enough, but they can be too old. Aging became a woman's worst enemy, second only to the specter of gaining weight. As commercials showed 19-year-old models promising 60-year-old women dewy, youthful skin, the shadow message was, if you look any older than this, you are toast in the world. A fashionista, then, is living a contradiction. Your inner feminist is encouraging you to discover your power, while another voice undermines you for the slightest imperfection, real or imagined. Fashionistas who are world-class shoppers, and there are many, often swing into shopping mode when they are in touch with their inner feminist and questing for a sense of self-esteem. Shopping for fashion items is almost never about the joys of spending money. It's about role-playing, imagining who you hope to become when you lose weight perhaps, or you dress up to go out for a special dinner. Fashion shopping is the ultimate self-empowerment fantasy for many women. And that's precisely why, for the fashionista, developing your self-esteem is essential. For you, beauty and fashion carry projections of your journey of self-empowerment and inner growth to a degree unmatched in any other archetype. A fashionista might very well take a comment such as, "That's not the best blouse for you," as a crushing personal rejection, whereas the artist archetype would be more inclined to shrug it off or even turn the blouse inside out, adding a backhanded retort such as, "Like it now?" The fashionista is completely identified with her body and sees the human form as a living piece of art. So if this is your archetype, you first and foremost need to be comfortable in your own skin. It is essential for you to remember that fashion is not just about knowing what's in style this season and which designer has captured the spotlight on the runway. You need self-esteem to wear any fashion well. For all you elegantly mature fashionistas out there, remember that you get better with age. Fashion power does not require remaking your body with endless diets or plastic surgery. You can wear your inner power with style, whatever your weight, body type, or age. Unique challenge. Most people associate the world fashion with beautiful models, expensive clothing, and the latest styles. But that is not why the fashionista loves fashion. Beyond how stunning, clever, or even outrageous you are at outfitting yourself, the heart of a true fashionista is individuality, truly knowing who you are and creating a fashion statement that reflects your whole being. This is an archetype that adores being noticed, admired, and copied. You were born with a knack for mixing and matching pieces, for wearing the unusual, for throwing odds and ends together and making them look like high-end design. Someone lacking your skill might appear to have dressed in the dark, whereas you, with a little imagination and more than a little flair, have converted the ordinary into the stunning with just the right scarf and jewelry. The French would say the fashionista's effortless style has je ne sais quoi, as indefinable quality that makes it attractive and distinctive. Often, when women get together, the chatter turns to the latest styles, and when the most stunning or creative outfit is mentioned, someone invariably says, "I wish I could wear something like that." The woman who is not a fashionista drools in envy of the women luxuriating in an outfit that is perfectly suited to her, a simpatico union of power and style. Achieving this is not a matter of being able to afford designer clothing, but rather of knowing who you are at your core and what type of fashion represents your sense of personal power. That's the formula for creating the perfect fashion statement, no matter what you're wearing. If you don't believe me, try the opposite approach. Put on a very expensive designer outfit that you love but you know is really not you, and then see how you feel. Every one of us has come home with shopping bags full of clothing that looked great in the store, but which we ended up never wearing. Why? Because the outfit made us feel powerless the instant we put it on. Maybe the color was not right for us, the hemline was wrong, or the style made our hips far more noticeable than we like. Standing in front of our own mirror, we finally conclude that we look awkward in the same dress that seemed to fit us so well in the store. There is no typical fashionista. Each of you has your own body type, skin tone, hairstyle, and personality, as well as your particular taste in designers. You may be someone who gravitates toward a classic design, an Audrey Hepburn or Gwyneth Paltrow in sophisticated, ladylike clothes. Or you might prefer electric dress, a little of this and a little of that, like the Carrie Bradshaw character in Sex and the City. Or you may be devoted to green clothing made from recycled and organic products, not considered not only fashionable, but socially responsible and therefore very desirable. It's a direction that designer Stella McCartney, a lifelong vegan, is moving in. As a fashionista, creating your own fashion statement is not just a hobby, it's a core to your identity. It's a projection of the way the fashionista archetype is expressing itself through you. If you truly resonate with this archetype, then how you dress holds symbolic authority for you in a way that is incomprehensible to other archetypes. The athlete, for example, is completely baffled by the fashionista's need to read the latest fashion magazines. But as a fashionista, you need to dress yourself as a projection of your inner qualities, as well as what suits your physical form. You are dressing your spirit as well as your body, in other words. Even for the fashionista, however, it's easy to be seduced by the sheer variety of designs available in the marketplace today. But is wearing a design just because it's in style a form of self-betrayal for the fashionista? Granted, you fashionistas get away with more fashion crimes than other people, but the rule still applies. Dress according to your archetype. Archetypes hold the key to your fashion comfort zone because they are the engine of your imagination. For the fashionista, creating your own fashion statement is as much a matter of developing own your inner sense of self, determining what styles are the most flattering to you. The only rule you need to follow is to stop letting what other people think dictate how you dress, so you can start letting the true fashionista inside of you come out. Universal lesson. The great lesson of the fashionista is to witness and learn from how painful it is to be judged for your appearance rather than for the quality of your person you are. No one likes the feeling of being judged, especially for what she's wearing. But let's face it, fashionistas are pros at this, and it's not your best side. All you need to do is give another woman a quick once-over to decide whether or not she's got taste and style, and if she's worth getting to know. Few industries are as jealous and competitive and judgmental as those that specialize in putting people on public display. Judging how others look is the shadow side, the underbelly of the fashion and beauty business. One of the most revealing and poignantly honest stories I ever heard was from a fashionista model who attended a lecture of mine when she was at the spiritual turning point in her life. She was on the age edge, and as she described it, meaning that because her face was her fortune, time was not her friend. She was approaching the ripe old age of 33, which she said was a bit past middle age in her industry. She was now competing with 15-year-olds for jobs, and the pressure was getting to her. She told me she had turned to a spiritual path for sustenance after a particularly painful incident. A young model had come up to her after having been through makeup and dress and asked, "Do I look okay?" The girl was a nervous wreck, as it was only her first or second shoot, and she wanted a little reassurance from a seasoned model. All I had to do was tell her that she looked terrific, because she did, but I couldn't do it, the woman told me. I could not bring myself to hand over that much confidence to her when I was so intimidated by her youth and beauty. So I told her that she looked okay, but I said in a tone of voice that communicated just the opposite. I deliberately wanted to disempower her, to make her feel awful about herself. It worked. I saw it in her eyes. The moment she walked away from me, I felt a wave of shame that made me want to run after her and tell her that she looked fabulous. But I couldn't do that either. That's when I knew there was something missing in me. I did not have enough substance, enough me inside to even compliment the new kid on the block. For all I had accomplished on the outside, I was an empty shell on the inside. Ow. As I told this lovely and courageous woman, empty shells are not capable of the honesty and self-reflection she had obviously discovered in herself. Though she would probably never find that young model again, she made the decision to look within at her burning envy and tackle what was an ongoing source of personal suffering. So as long as she felt so insecure, she would see everyone as a potential threat, regardless of how beautiful or successful she was. Fashionistas love being looked at as much as they fear being judged or humiliated for a fashion imperfection, such as being told that the style they're wearing is not becoming. No amount of baubles, bangles, and beads can make dark feelings of envy or emotional insecurity or emptiness evaporate. Dark emotions can turn you into someone like the fashionista model, projecting your envious negative feelings onto others. I've been at the other end of that, people being mean to me. Let's face it, you can always find people younger and more attractive than you, but are they kinder or more thoughtful? Those are the qualities that matter, and they're the ones that get better with age. You have to be made of stronger inner fabric than the clothing you're wearing, or the slightest glance will cause you to crumble. Just as important is remembering the way all-consuming envy feels, lest you harm another person with it. All the high fashion outfits in the world can't compensate for low self-esteem. However, feeling good about who you are fits into any outfit. Defining grace, exuberance. The grace of the fashionista is exuberance. Exuberance is experienced as a sensation, not an emotion, but a sensation of unrestrained enthusiasm and overflowing joy at being you, in exactly the package you came in. In other words, you experience a wholehearted appreciation for the beauty and loveliness in your life. The gift of this profound grace leaves you with the realization that you really would not change a thing about who you are or your life as it is. Obviously, this grace is not about fashion per se, but about how you fashion your whole life. The grace of exuberance heightens your appreciation and enthusiasm for realizing your own innate ability to resonate with the elements of life that sparkle. For all the times you may have wished that things were other than the way they are, the deeper truth is that if given the chance, most hardcore fashionistas would change very little. Any of us would like to eliminate chronic suffering, serious illness, and burdensome debt, of course. But when it comes to changing the essential you, who you are at the deepest level, most fashionistas would not take that option. And if you examined the reasons why, the core would be this: fashionistas have the innate ability to transform the ordinary into sensational. You are masters of seeing the potential beauty in other people as well as yourself. And this is where the grace of exuberance really shines through. When grace enters your psychic field, no matter which grace, it immediately heightens your natural gifts. Exuberance often expresses itself as a sense of how you could enhance the potential of another person, how your gift for seeing beauty could improve someone else's life. Grace often awakens in you the urge to give, and through sharing your talent for transforming the ordinary, you can realize the depth of your own inner beauty and all you have to offer. So the grace of exuberance is about awakening beauty in others, as well as discovering the depth of your own inner gifts, which increase the beauty of your own life. Exuberance is heightened when you live in the present time. Focusing on the past diminishes your capacity to reorganize the constant flow of opportunities and blessings in your life. The grace of exuberance is also what you need to connect with when you lose touch with the beauty in your life. Grace can reignite the exhilaration of being alive and reawaken you to the realization that there is no one else in the world exactly like you. Inner shadow. The vulnerable zone for you as a fashionista is competing with some artificial standard of beauty. Runway models are not slender, they're starvation skinny. One facial line is considered grounds for Botox, a patch of cellulite for liposuction. You can become obsessed with the impossible and then use fashion to compensate for feeling like an ugly duckling. When you are in the throes of the ugly duckling syndrome, you either can shop for anything or you could go shopping and buy everything that's wrong for you. The shadow side of the fashionista is seeing yourself as a failure physically, unattractive, overweight, old before your time, and therefore powerless. You might as well just toss yourself off a bridge. Some ugly ducklings live in the inner dark space all the time, and it's a hellhole. When you cannot find anything at all to love about yourself or find anything beautiful within yourself, even breathing is an effort. It's as if some negative image was locked into your mind at an early age, perhaps by an envious or interfering mother who said you should look a certain way, or by playmates who ridiculed you for your appearance. Anorexia and bulimia are two disorders that are products of the ugly duckling syndrome. The ugly duckling, feeling criticized or rejected for not being the perfect swan, seeks to control her body in the only way she knows how. The ugly duckling shadow is relentless. The voice of imperfection has no limits or boundaries. It will whisper in your ear 24/7 if you let it. For the fashionista who suffers from the ugly duckling syndrome, even in its mildest form, the essence of breaking free of it is to realize that everyone, and you are no exception, has a true self within that is a beautiful swan. Male counterpart. For all you men who consider yourselves the masculine counterpart of the fashionista, the gentleman, or the metro male, much of what I have written about the fashionista applies to you. The core elements of this archetype do not change because of gender. because of gender. But the male fashionista differs in his surface expression of it. The gentleman is an archetype that has been around for centuries, and today's gentleman is the inheritor of a rich legacy of knights and lords embodying elegance, tradition, and ritual. The metro male, on the other hand, has no history but is hybrid created by the fashion and cosmetics industry and the media that cover them. A woman expects a gentleman to open her door and pay for her dinner, to stand when she comes to the table, to help her with her coat and perform those small but oh so caring acts that specifically define this refined archetype. But does any woman expect all that from a metro male? I don't think so. He's probably too busy checking his hair in the mirror. The metro male, in a nutshell, has discovered himself and his physical potential. He can be credited with the rise of the male beauty industry, a niche that never really existed before the emergence of his hybrid archetype. The importance of achieving the perfectly sculpted body or having a hairstyle, not just a haircut, skyrocketed as metro males hit the covers of magazines and captured Hollywood audiences, eclipsing the classic gentleman. Along with the athlete archetype, the metro male dominates the media's sexiest men listings. The metro male's much touted softer side is largely superficial, a growing comfort with grooming, including manicures, pedicures, hair coloring, facials, and even makeup. Whereas the gentleman's goal is to pursue beauty by wearing dashing fashion, the metro male's goal is to be beautiful, to razzle dazzle in the latest fashions so that he will be the pursued. Whereas romance emanates from within the gentleman. Think of romantic legends like Cary Grant or Fred Astaire or Sean Connery. Romance is an artificial construct around the metro male, a projection of image and form because the metro male lacks romantic libido. The pride and power of the metro male are invested in bodybuilding and style over substance. With the rise of the metro male, for the first time in centuries, men and women with fashionista archetypes are competing over which of them is more beautiful. However, as archetypes go, the hybrid metro male is a flash in the pan. Long after he has come and gone, the archetype of the innately elegant gentleman, the leading man, the romantic lead, will remain. Myths of the fashionista. The iconic myth of the fashion world are clothes make the person, and you don't get a second chance to make a first impression with nothing compares to style as a close runner-up. You can protest, I'm not that interested in fashion, all you want, but I will respond, that's absolute nonsense. The truth is, everyone is interested in fashion in one way or another. Even if you can't remember the last time you bought clothes, we are all fashionistas. But I'll admit that I watch the Oscars to see what the celebrities are wearing, as does most of America. I cannot identify with any of the designers, but it doesn't matter. I love to people watch, and so do millions of other viewers who are as intrigued by the lifestyle of Hollywood fashionistas as I am. Never mind that most of these women on the red carpet were dressed by stylists. They're living the myth that clothes make the person, and we love watching them play that out. Yet another myth of the fashionista is the rags to riches story. Two of the most famous versions are Pygmalion and Cinderella. In ancient Greek lore, Pygmalion was a sculptor who fell in love with the statue he carved. As we know the tale from George Bernard Shaw's play and the musical My Fair Lady, Professor Henry Higgins takes on the challenge of turning the Cockney flower seller Eliza Doolittle into a high society lady. His success depends upon Eliza learning perfect diction and perfect etiquette. Said differently, she must pass the test of a British fashionista of her day. As we know, she succeeds at playing the upper class game while remaining true to herself and winning the love of her Pygmalion in the process. In the Cinderella tale, a magical spell, a single glass slipper, and a handsome prince activate the transformation of a young girl into a princess fashionista. In this version of the archetypal myth, Cinderella enters the enchanting world where dreams do come true. Cinderella wins the love of the prince and lives happily ever after. The Cinderella story remains an archetypal classic, not only because we love a tale of a princess meets prince, but also because we are so intrigued with the idea of transformation. Is it really possible to go from one presentation of ourselves to another just like that? Can makeup and fashion work the magic of fairy godmother's wand? Or does it require hours of study and practice with no guarantee of success at the end? Today, there are reality TV shows built around the transformational power of fashion and makeup. They can't guarantee you a prince or princess, but they tap into the myth that the transformed woman or man, outfitted as a modern-day fashionista, has far better chance in the social marketplace. At the end of the day, what we learn from the fashionista is that there is clothing and there is fashion. Clothing is practical. Fashion is fun. Clothing does not come with myths, stories, and fairy tales, but fashion does. Fashion has the power to transform the ordinary part of you into the extraordinary, at least momentarily. Fashion casts each of us in our own personal myth. How much fun is that? Lifestyle challenge. The creative instincts of the fashionista are not limited to fashion. In fact, no archetype has a rigidly defined boundary or influence. The characteristics of every archetype, or at least many, blend into the full spectrum of your lifestyle. For the fashionista, that means a love of fashion might extend to a preference for having stylish living environment, or even a fashionable social life. A fashionable lifestyle might mean being seen at all the right restaurants and nightclubs, or vacationing in trendy places like St. Bart's or St. Tropez. But fashionable is a state of mind, not a description of an outfit. It characterizes a complex of attitude, style, design, etiquette, and self-image that come together as an overarching approach to life. Make no mistake, a fashionable lifestyle takes effort to put together and maintain. Your challenge as a fashionista is creating a lifestyle that reflects who you are and empowers you as a person. You need to feel good in your body, your mind, and your clothing. Your lifestyle needs to be your greatest personal design, because confidence is your greatest accessory. Recognize your archetype. Are you a fashionista? You may be a hardcore fashionista, or you may be someone who just loves pretty clothes, or you may be someone who follows fashion for status. The differences are subtle, in some cases undetectable to the casual observer, but they originate in very different views of the relationship between fashion and power. There are plenty of women who enjoy decking themselves out in the latest styles, rushing to be the first to wear the status designers and most talked about designs. These women are slaves to fashion, indifferent to the price on the hang tag, except insofar as it lets everyone know I know the latest fashions and I can afford them. I wouldn't be caught dead in anything without a designer label. For these women, power lies in the ability to project an image of status and wealth, to pass themselves off as elite. It is an illusion of power, however. Decking yourself decking yourself out in Chanel head to toe makes you little more than a walking billboard. This kind of fashion victim is very different from the fashionista. If you are a true fashionista, you are less concerned with what is hot off the runway than in putting together outfits that show your personal sense of style and convey what you consider to be the real source of power, an unmistakable sense of who you are that emanates from within. Now, where did I leave off? Your way of wearing Chanel might be to pair a Chanel jacket with jeans from a new, younger designer, a $12.95 t-shirt from a big box retailer, and shoes that look fantastic but may or may not be from the current season or recognizable label. As a fashionista, you know how to make yourself look terrific, no matter what the occasion or the pieces you are putting together. You understand the concept of power dressing, that it is not the iconic watch from the status retailer, but an accessory or a piece of jewelry that is talismanic, that tells a bit of your personal story. It might be worth $1 million or have no sticker value, but its value to you is priceless. It is expressive of your essence, your sense of beauty, your sense of values, your self-esteem. As a fashionista, you not only know what looks good on you, but you work the same magnificent magic for others. Your natural enthusiasm and eye for beauty and gifts you are only too happy to share. Dressing well is merely a fraction of your talent. You have made your whole life your personal fashion statement, the ultimate expression of who you are. Still not sure if you fit the fashionista label? Take a look at the behavior patterns and characteristics of the fashionista archetype on the next page and see if you identify with any of them. Behavior patterns and characteristics of the fashionista. You have a knack for looking fabulous no matter what you put on. You wear your clothing, it doesn't wear you. You see fashion as a means to develop authentic self-esteem. You're a savvy shopper and love to try new styles. You invest in pieces that speak to who you are and not what others think you should be. You see the beauty in other people and love helping non-fashionistas find their personal style. You never go on fad diets, preferring to exercise and eat right to stay fit. Your shopping sprees are reconnaissance missions, searching for clothing that empowers you. You enjoy supporting young talent and other creative designers whose fashion you choose to wear. You are often admired and envied for your personal style. You treat fashion as your personal art form, with your body as your canvas. You set your own standards of beauty and avoid comparing yourself to others. Step into your archetype, tapping into the power of the fashionista. Knowing that you are a fashionista doesn't mean you will always get it right. Even fashionistas have designer mistakes in their closets or elsewhere around the house. But because for you fashion is about more than what looks good on the surface, you're willing to learn. Here are some suggestions for getting in touch with your inner fashionista. Clean out your closet. Nothing is more of an energy drain than too much stuff, except too much stuff we never use. For fashionistas, the closet can be an energy sinkhole, full of clothing we once dearly loved, pieces with sentimental value, and power items that have lost their mojo. You've heard it before. If you haven't worn it in 2 years, you probably never will. If you can't bear to part with it, store it for a year. At the same time, be discerning in what you toss. A fashionista's closet is her archive, often containing iconic designs. Save what is beautiful or beautifully made. Odds are you'll put it out one day and wear it again, or even put it on display. Be ruthless. One absolute don't is hanging on to any piece of clothing because you think you'll lose weight and be able to wear it again. When you do lose weight, you and I both know you will celebrate with a new wardrobe. So give all those slim memories to the thrift shop and get busy getting in shape. Call in the experts. It's hard for a fashionista to admit there's something about fashion she doesn't know, but there's no shame in asking for help. If your style is in transition, or if you want to be more adventurous in how you dress, unless your BFF is a fashionista with an infallible eye, hire a fashion consultant. It's well worth the investment and could save plenty in the long run. Someone with good taste and fresh perspective can cull your wardrobe for what doesn't fit with your self-definition. If dressing your spirit is as important to you as dressing your body, be sure to choose someone in tune with your values. Be clear about your objectives. Do you want to repurpose your existing wardrobe or add or replace pieces, or send it all to a consignment shop and start anew? Many fashion consultants have relationships with stores or designers that allow you to buy at a discount. Just be sure you don't fall into the trap of thinking you have to go with whatever the experts say look good on you. Remember, more salespeople work on commission, and however helpful they are, at the end of the day, their goal is to ring up a sale. Find your colors. Fashion should be fun. One way to enjoy it and build a more flattering wardrobe is to work with a color consultant or take one of those home courses that tell you which colors look best with your skin tone and hair color. Don't worry, you will be given a range of shades, so you won't be stuck with mustard if you find out you're a fall type who looks best in earth tones. Wearing clothes in flattering hues is very empowering. A designer blouse in the wrong shade will never make you feel as confident as an old favorite in a color that's right for you. Promise. Play dress up. Nobody said you have to stick with the same style forever. That's the joy of being a fashionista. Expose yourself to the full spectrum of design. A friend of a friend spends the odd lunch hour on the designer floor of a high-end department store trying on couture. She couldn't possibly afford those fashions, but she has developed a very refined sense of color, design, and workmanship that translates into stunning outfits she puts together from her own wardrobe. If you are too shy to try on Bailman and Stella McCartney, attend fashion shows and visit costume displays in museums. You can't touch, but you can look. For a fashionista, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Make someone beautiful. There is nothing more empowering than being generous with what you know. Play Pygmalion and help a friend with no sense of style put together an outfit for a special occasion. And don't forget to stop by the makeup counter for a makeover that brings out her natural beauty. Shop alone. Only you know the image you want to project, the sense of self you want the world to see. Never shop with your mother or any friend who starts a sentence with, you know, you really shouldn't wear. Whatever your archetype, an important step in expressing it fully is to find out what gives you power, what drains it, and how to regain it. Where you gain power, creating a lifestyle that is your personal fashion statement. Giving yourself free rein to try out new styles. Highlighting your best assets. You know what they are and how to make the most of them. Staying in shape. Beauty and fitness go together. Punishing diets aren't the answer. Being decisive. Your instinct for good design is spot on. Don't second guess your intuition. Living in the present. Trips down memory lane keep you from seeing the beauty around you now. When you lose your power and how to regain it. Relying on emotional shopping jags to make yourself feel better, it won't work and you'll never wear the clothes. Shop only when you're feeling good. Seeking others' approval. The only approval you need is your own. Cultivate it. Comparing yourself to others. There will always be someone younger and more beautiful behind you. Focus on inner beauty. That's what lasts. Listen to your inner critic. When that voice starts saying you're too fat, too old, or have no taste, plug your ears. Ignoring your inner power gauge. You're automatically attracted to what empowers you. Pay attention to the signals. Checklist for the fashionista. I consider my life my personal fashion statement. I dress to feel empowered. I am not an ugly duckling. My mantra is, I am a swan, I am a swan, I am a swan. I concentrate on developing inner beauty, which lasts. I enjoy helping others uncover their fashionista. I love fashion, but I'm not a slave to it. I consider it a means of self-discovery as well as self-expression. I don't take myself or fashion too seriously. Life and getting dressed should be fun. Final thoughts. For all you stunning fashionistas, I have just one piece of advice. Become your beautiful self, and that will last you all your life. So tomorrow we're going to read The Intellectual. Happy Sunday, everyone. Stay blessed. Oh, hold on. My phone's acting up. Come on. Stay blessed.